Vegas, and welcome to Face the Tribune with the legendary Rolando Barras. I'm your co-host, as usual, Chris Garcia, and we are joined today as special guest today, Laura Hernandez, as she is a family and youth services coordinator from Gender Justice, and she's an advocate for transgender youth here in Las Vegas. With that, though, Rolando, how you feeling today?
I'm fine. I'm very happy to see Laura to be here with us today after she was forced to cancel twice. But finally we got her here, and we're going to talk about something that it is really very important for everybody, but especially for the children who are going to it's not, but it's, what would I say, going through the process of becoming a transgender person, right?
Right.
And, but before that, I would like to say that I'm very happy that O.J. Simpson got parole,
Yes.
and he's going to come out October 1st. If he's still alive, you know, I don't think his life is going to be the same anymore. And I'd be very careful if I was him, because now people can get upset because he's getting out. And maybe I'm too pessimistic, but I would think I will watch what I eat, and I will watch, well, you see my column in the Las Vegas Tribune today. If I was him, I would be eating wrap food, apple, turnovers, Milky Ways, everything else that is wrap, and nobody can do anything. But that's a show for tomorrow, because today we have a very important issue to talk about. And I learned from Laura a few things in the short time that we've been talking in my office, and she's kind of been educating me how to deal with this, and simple little words then do not come to people's mind, and it's very important for those who are going through the same thing. How do you get started in this? How did you become involved with it? You involved with the transgenders person or transgender kids?
So I support transgender youth primarily, but really anyone within the community that comes to Gender Justice Nevada for our services, I support in finding resources. And
but you're not a transgender person.
I am not a transgender person. I'm a parent of
You're
a transgender daughter.
Oh, you are a parent of, okay.
And my daughter is going to be 15 soon. But my daughter, Christina, told me that she was a girl when she was 4. And up until that point, I understood that I had a son, I had a little boy. And at 4 years old, when she told me that, it was not anything that I knew nothing about that. So I responded with, "Oh, no, you're not, honey. And let me tell you about who boys are and who girls are. And maybe you don't know what that word means." And so she listened for the moment, but really didn't. Nothing really ever changed with her. She always knew who she was. She was always consistently telling me who she was. And I got really scared for a lot of years, thinking that I did something wrong and that I caused her to be the way that she was. So I spent a lot of years manipulating, controlling, and trying to get.
What do you think made her to have the courage? Because I think kids have to have the courage to come forward. What makes you think what made her to have the courage to come out to you and say, "I'm a girl" at 4? At 4, how did they know the difference at that age? Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any kids, so I can tell you.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about yourself. Like, when did you know you were a boy? Like, was it 5 or 6 or 10 that you knew you were a boy? You always knew you were, right? Right? And so kids know, and they really know generally around 3 or 4 is when they start to become really aware of who they are. And if what we're telling them outwardly about who they are doesn't fit for them, doesn't match their understanding of who they are, they're a lot of times going to let you know. Unless there are a lot of really
They
stringent
would not be
expectations.
afraid to speak up to their parents.
Well, for her at that time, it wasn't something that required bravery. It was just a statement. This is who I am. Maybe you hadn't noticed, Mom, but I'm a girl. There are households where boys and girls roles are really stringently enforced, and those households might be ones where kids may hold back a little bit more.
And that is because due to the innocence, maybe you don't notice, Mom, but I am a girl.
Right.
And that's something that comes from the bottom of the.
Right.
I see.
But then the reaction that they get from the parents, that's going to determine kind of what's going to happen after that. So if they're getting a lot of, no, that is not right, you do not sit like that, you do not scream like that, you do not throw like that, you were a boy, boys behave in this way, that's when things are going to start getting a whole lot more, they're going to be like a lot more careful about how they express themselves, and they're going to not say who they are. And I did that for a lot of years. I did that to my child for many years, trying to fix whatever I thought that I messed up. And I caused a lot of damage and a lot of harm to my child, trying to force her to be something that I thought she was supposed to be, or that I needed her to be for me to be okay. And so it took until she was 11 years old, and I thought she was going to kill herself because she was so depressed and miserable in the life that she was living, that I finally reached out and found her.
But at that time, she was still being a boy.
She was still going to school as
Wearing
a boy,
clothes and boys'
still wearing boys' clothes. For the most part, I think she, at that point, because we moved that line a lot throughout the years, it wasn't until she was about 4 or 5 that she got the first Barbie, and that was only because she got hurt real bad, and I wanted to give her the one thing that I knew was going to make her feel better, and then it was just like, the play dress.
Did she play with the Barbie?
Oh, yes, she was obsessed with dolls, and then it was like she got the one dress that was a costume, and, so I let that be okay, and then it was like a long while later before she got like a real dress. And
because, Laura, let me tell you, I saw the article the Review Journal did on you, and I was talking to Chris about that. I wasn't sure, because in the picture was a 7-year-old girl. And I was wondering if that would have been the right thing to do at that age, 7 years old, accept that your boy is a girl. Isn't that encouraging in the wrong way? And now, after talking to you, I believe that, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, well, maybe the parents went too far. You understand what I'm saying, Chris? Maybe the parents went too far and dressing him like a girl when he doesn't know at that age. But your daughter was 4 and she knew about it.
People always think that somehow the parents influencing the child is that they don't know who they are. Yeah, one thing
No. I didn't say influence. I said to push her.
To support it maybe isn't the right thing to do, is what you're saying.
Support her.
Well,
no, the right thing would be supported, but I thought it was too much of a support, maybe that's the word you want to use. It was too much of a support at 7 years old buying my boy a dress. That's what I was thinking until I start talking to you, and then I start reading more about it, and I think it is very important that the people, the adults, start learning about this, because this is something that is not going to go away. This is not a phase.
No, it's not.
This is something that is here to stay.
It is. It's always been here. It just there wasn't any attention or focus.
Exactly, like I told you in the office when we was talking. If this would have been something that happened 60 years ago, it would have been more transgenders nowadays. Because I remember when, I don't know if you remember, you're too young to remember that, Christina Jorgensen.
Yeah, I'm not that young. I remember.
You remember her?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody was talking about, because she had the operation, and I think she was in the army or something. She came out of the army, and if the people would have been accepting that and reading about that or learning about that, it would have been more acceptable nowadays. and it will be less bullying when it comes to transgender people.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I want to start by giving you, I can't use the word on the air, but loaded credit for changing, because you have to change. She wasn't going to change.
Right.
I have 7 kids. 2 of my daughters are bisexual, and they lean more toward females. They dated, I think.
Who are they?
They dated males, I think, more to appease me. They come home and they say that, and I look at them and I go, come on. Like, this isn't real because I know you. But I could tell at a very, very young age they were attracted to girls. I would watch a girl leave the room, and I would watch them leave the room. And that's when you're attracted to somebody. And I would see boys come in and they would just keep doing what they was doing. And me being, I said, oh, okay, I know it there. And I never said anything because had I, they did eventually come to me and say, Dad, you know I like girls, right? I said, I knew that, right? But if I had said or talked badly about that, they would have not felt like they were comfortable enough. So I give you a lot of credit because I know you're Hispanic, all 3 of us are, and you know how we grow up feeling about that.
Yeah.
So to be able to change and say and accept, I give you all the credit in the book.
Definitely.
That's huge, man.
You are a very great woman,
Yes.
and I think your daughter is very lovely.
Thank you. I think I'm very
Thank
lucky
you.
to have her.
That you are so understanding and have the opportunity to educate yourself. Because I got the feeling that you went through a lot of reading and a lot of things.
I did, back then there was no support, right? So I set about to create what I always wanted to have when I was first going through this transition with Christina. And so I started a parent group, and initially it was just me and one other mom that would come together every week while the kids were meeting. And then we just started growing, and we're almost at 100 families now.
Really?
Every Saturday.
A school age?
Some of them are a little bit older, but the majority of them are under 18. And we meet every Saturday. We have one group for parents and one group for kids. And we just have this thriving, amazing network and community that we've built of all of these parents that I support and find resources
And
for.
let me ask you, I don't have any kids, but I have a lot of friends that have a lot of kids. Doesn't the kids feel like they know everything and they don't need to any group, support group or anything like that?
There are some that feel that way, but for the majority, they really, really appreciate having that space. There's no other experience like that, of being in a space where everyone gets you, where you can talk about things that you can't really talk about with your other friends or with family. And the same thing for me as a parent, right? Like, I can have a very best friend and confide in her about everything, but if she doesn't have a kid that's trans, she's never going to really get it like those people in that group. And so we have bonded and become.
Do you see that as a fact? People that don't have transgender kids will never understand?
Not that I don't think they would understand. Of course, there are amazing, wonderful allies that we have throughout the community in all different walks of life. But having somebody who's going through it at the same time as you with their own kid, there's something amazing and special about that, and coming together in person, to have that kind of group, not just online, which we also have our group online, but to come together every week and see those people and cry with those people and hold their hands and walk them through stuff, that is the most amazing part of the work that I do.
I tell you this, and people don't think about this, me being a dad of 7 kids, and I think the bravest person, and they were right to name her Time Magazine Person of the Year, what Caitlyn Jenner had to do. It's one thing to be a kid and always and come out at a young age, but to be an Olympic hero,
Sure.
to be a male role model, to have as many kids and be married as long as he has. It's one thing to come out for yourself, but you know how that's going to affect your kids, your ex-wife, what is she going to think? I mean, that took courage beyond
Absolutely.
what Bruce Jenner
Well,
did.
yeah, but I believe
Unbelievable.
in talking about this particular case, I believe that he was not always a transgender.
I believe that Caitlyn was always.
I think he was too.
Really?
I think that's what I said. I think that has
I
to kill
cannot see a person that is willing to go through the whole thing and have a wife and have
Yes.
kids I mean, I don't know,
Because
that
some
maybe
of it's
it's
trans.
my stupidity.
Not
My
everybody
lack
that is
of
trans is attracted to the opposite sex.
Oh, really?
So when they transition, if somebody, let's say that they were assigned male at birth, born a boy, and they transition to female, doesn't mean they're necessarily
So
a
they can
gay
be a
man.
lesbian?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
So sexuality and who you love and who you're attracted to is completely separate from gender identity and who you know
They
yourself
said
to be
actually he still
as a
dates
person.
women.
Right.
He still dates women.
Really?
Yeah.
So the fact that Caitlyn was dating women and married to a woman, or I think married several times to women,
Yes.
and you know, and was a parent to kids, does not mean in any way that that has some bearing on whether or not she always knew herself to be transgender, which she does say and has said many times that she always knew who she was, but that she didn't feel safe in coming out, and that's really the case.
Yeah, that's what I was telling you before. 60 years ago, you will do that. Not only that, you will walk a little feminine, and you was risking to be bullied and being beat up and.
It's no
and
different
being,
now. Think about this. Here's
Really,
my
not the
daughter.
same way?
I
Absolutely.
think it's worse.
Think about this. Here's my daughter, beautiful. I don't know if you've seen her. She's
No.
gorgeous. Okay? So imagine she's this beautiful girl and she's
Is
walking
that
down
the
the
mother
hallway.
talking or that?
No, she's beautiful, right? So imagine there's this beautiful girl walking down the hallway at school, and the one boy says, "Oh man, check her out," you know. And then later on, he finds out she's trans. Now, she never spoke to him, never had anything to do with him, but he expressed attraction to her to his friends. So once he finds out she's trans, immediately he's going to feel aggression, and he's going to feel like he has to protect his masculinity. And who is that aggression going to be aimed at? Her.
Yes.
For existing, not for talking to him, not for leading him on, not for
Well,
any way.
I believe that most people who are afraid to accept somebody else for their sexual preference or for sexual identity is people that are insecure about their own sexual preference.
I think that can happen, but I think that I don't necessarily like when people say, "Oh, if you have a problem with it, you must be closeted."
Right?
And I don't
No,
really
you don't
like
think
that.
so?
I'm sure that happens, but this is about people having wrong learning. And you know, like Jane, my director, she likes to say it's not ignorance, it's wrong learning, because it is. It's what we learn. It's everything that we learn and understand in our lives coming from society that tells us who men are, who women are, how we're supposed to fit into these boxes, and if you don't, there's something wrong with you. And a man who wants to wear women's clothes or is leaning towards anything feminine is a deviant. There's something wrong with him. He's a predator. He's you know, out to deceive people, and that's
So
what
will that apply also to women that wear men's clothes? Because every woman nowadays wear pants and wear construction boots, and I think they look sexy, but
because that's what we call a hierarchy of men. That's what we call patriarchy, because everybody puts masculinity above femininity, right? So it's okay for a little girl to dress as Spider-Man for Halloween. That's cute. But let a little boy want to be a princess, then everyone's up in arms, right? Everyone's supposed to be reaching up towards masculinity. Nobody's supposed to be reaching down towards femininity. That's when the problem comes in, right? So it's not about it being okay for one or not okay for the other. It's just that we accept it more when it's a woman who is being masculine. But transgender men who were assigned female at birth and transitioned to men, they are also in you know, discriminated against, also in danger in public spaces, also having the same.
how can we educate the human beings in general?
What
How
I
can
think
we
the key is this. The key is that to not train or educate people as if I'm learning about a community of people that's completely different from me. The key is to show that the sex gender binary of men do this and women do this and there are men and women and that's it. Those rules that we grow up with, that affects all of us.
Yeah.
All of us at one time had been told, you can't do that because you're a man or a boy, or you can't do that because you're a girl or a woman, right? So all of us are growing up being told that we have to be a certain way that doesn't always fit for us. And those who are transgender are pushing back against those boundaries just a little bit harder and a little bit more intensely than the rest of us.
Yeah.
But we are all in this together.
Like, for example, a woman can be a ballet parker, but a man cannot be a cocktail waiter. That's one thing. You know, I saw a man in a Smith's food store the other day wearing those Scottish, what do you call the dress?
Scottish.
The Scottish, what do you call it?
Kilt.
Kilt. And everybody was looking at why? Even if it was just a regular dress, why can we be the same way? You know, women can wear pants, women can go into being a boxer. I mean, how much more tough than being a boxer?
All these rules
A
were
man
created by
become a
society.
ballet dancer and everybody automatically think he's a queer. It's like I said, I think you're still too young, but in the old days, you were a hairdresser and you definitely was gay, you know. And I know two people, well, one is dead now, but he owned about 3 or 4 beauty shops in the hotels. And I'm talking about Easy Marion here, he's already passed. But he owned the beauty shop at the Aladdin, at the Frontier, and another 2 other hotels. Oh, the Fremont. He started being a hairdresser. He was not a beauty shop owner all his life. And he was a man. I mean, as far as I know, he was a man.
We know that we can't look at somebody and determine who they are or who they're attracted to. We can't look at somebody's profession and determine who they are, who they're attracted to by those things. It's just that we create these rules in our society and then we enforce them on everybody around us.
As we like to. And it's convenient for us.
You know why people do that? Because it makes them feel more secure. Have you ever been in public and you saw someone and you didn't know if it was a man or a woman and it made you feel uncomfortable? Because we look at people and we want to know how to interact with them, how to address them, what to expect from them, right? So when we look at somebody and we don't know, immediately that makes us feel threatened. And so then we have to feel aggressively towards that person for making
You know what?
us feel
Let me
uncomfortable.
tell you, it doesn't make me feel threatened. It makes me embarrassed. And then I don't know how to accept the person the way they are. Whatever you know, if I think he looks like a woman, I will say, yes, ma'am, and excuse me. I'm a man, I say, excuse me. Yes, sir.
Right.
You know, I mean, I will do that.
Right.
But I guess it's just me, you know. I don't understand. I have a friend in Miami, a Cuban guy. He disliked gay people, completely disliked gay people. So one day, I went from my hotel room upstairs to the restaurant, and I see my friend sitting in a table having breakfast with the bank president. We had a bank in the hotel, and he was sitting with her. I said hello. And they said, you can sit here with us. And I sit down and everything. And then the bank president said, I got to run. I got to open the bank. It's going to be 9 o'clock. And so he left and I said to him, do you know that he is gay? And he said, oh, he's the president of the bank. Oh, you don't like poor gays. That's what it is. The president of the bank is okay to be gay. Oh, I see. And that's, and everything. I had a friend, she was a dancer, she was a stripper. Her daughter was infatuated since the young age for black guys. And I took her to see Sammy Davis Jr. show at the Sands. And they they got along pretty good and everything. One day I walk in the dressing room, I don't know, 6, 8 months later, and he said, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. Can you go pick up so-and-so?" And I said, "Do I know her?" "Yeah, you introduced me to her." When did that happen? "Oh, she's been in Palm Springs 3 or 4 times already." So I said, "Okay." So I went to pick her up, and who was waiting in the sidewalk with the kid? And I say kid because she was 18 years old, so to me that was a kid. And the mother. So I told the limo driver, I said, "Pull over a little bit far," because I thought she was going to insult me and everything else. And I get out, and before she even said anything, I said, "Gee, I'm sorry, my friend, I didn't." "What are you sorry for?" "Well, I know how you feel about black men, and your daughter is going to visit Sammy." "But that is Sammy Davis Jr. "Oh, excuse me, you don't like black guys in the street. Sammy Davis with a glass eye is not a black man. He is Sammy Davis Jr. I said, "You are a hypocrite." That's what it is. Honest to God, I taught her that way. Actually, another one, Montel Williams. Montel Williams married Bambi. Bambi was not allowed to date black kids when they were in the school. She met Montel Williams. She married Montel Williams. Beautiful wedding. And now the grandmother that didn't like her to date black kids, she's going out with the little black kids that they had, very happy, very proud, like it should be. It should be that way. You cannot control your children's taste or likes or habit or whatever you want to call them.
That's a very good point. You can't. And that's one thing that I've learned throughout all of this is that it doesn't matter what you do. You can support, you can not support, you can fight, you can control.
But if you don't, you're going to lose your kids.
Who they are. You are not going to make them trans, and you are not going to keep them from being trans. No matter what you do, they're going to be who they are. The only thing that you can control is whether or not they feel safe and supported and secure, and whether or not they're going to live.
I always said that. I said, if I would have any kids, I would support them in any way or shape. If they got pregnant, I will make sure that they choose what they want to do. They want to have the kid, they want to have an abortion, I will support. Or if they want to be lesbian, fine. They want to be gay, fine. And I always believe that that's the way it should be. You have to show support to your children, because if you don't support, I hate when I say, "Oh, my father threw me out of the house because he knew that I like this or I like that." I'm not going to go into details. How can you throw your kid out of your house into the danger? If it's a woman, if it's a girl, she can end up in the greenhouse where a black pimp is going to pick her up and make her a prostitute. You know, and if he's gay, he's going to end up in Santa Monica Boulevard, in Santa Monica, in Hollywood, being a prostitute probably too.
I think that, to be honest, that really a lot of times what happens in these situations is that parents are completely have no idea how to support. They just have no idea. They blame themselves. They think they did something to make their kid that way, and they have no idea what to do. So it's easier for them to just demonize the child and push them away than it is for them to actually change and educate themselves and get the support that they need so that they can then support their kids. And I always feel like the work that I'm doing is way more about the parents Because I think you can support a kid all day long, but if they gotta go back to that house where someone's gonna call them by the wrong name and pronoun, where someone's gonna beat them up for trying to express who they are, then it doesn't matter how you support a kid in every other way. Not that those things aren't important, but the key
So
is
actually
the
what
parents.
you're saying is you need to educate the parents.
The parents, getting parents the support they need, letting them have a space to grieve, to feel angry, to feel sorry for themselves for a while, to kind of go through all of the
Did
stages.
you feel that way in the
All
beginning?
of those things.
You
And
did?
that's a normal things, those are normal things to go through for a parent when their child is transitioning. Because we all, as parents, we kind of imagine this life that we want for our kids, and no kid, no matter who they are, ever is going to be the kid that you imagined that they were going to be, or the life that you designed for them. But really, that is a really extreme version of them changing the plan that you had in your head, right? And so there's some grieving there. And that's why you hear a lot of times, oh, I feel like my son died or my daughter died, and then people get angry about that. But because, oh, your kid's there, and some people really do lose their kids, and all that's valid. And at the same time, I gotta say that if you want a parent to change, then they gotta go through that process. And that process includes grieving, it includes feeling sorry for themselves and being angry.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought maybe I was insensitive, maybe I was ignorant, but I never judged people the way for what they are. I had a friend that she called me one night and she said, "Are you busy tonight?" I said, "No." And he said, "Can you pick my daughter up at the airport? She's coming, but I'm working." I said, "Yeah, it's only one problem. I don't know your daughter. I know your son, but I don't know you." Well, it's the same person. But I didn't make a comment. I didn't do nothing because I accept everybody the way they are. You know, it's not to me to judge because you got a red hair. I love red hair, but you know, it's not up to me. If you like red hair and you are satisfied with your color of your hair, good for you.
That's a good thing a lot of us. I just
You know?
if I got that door right now, I could get one on my hair.
Huh?
I'm just kidding.
Where are you from?
I'm from here. I was born in Las
Born
Vegas.
and raised here in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
So where did this Hernandez come from?
Hernandez was my ex-husband's last name,
Oh.
and Christina is my daughter's father's.
How did he handle this situation?
Well, he was not super involved with her for the first few years of her life. We split right after I had her, and we kept in touch, but he wasn't super involved. But he always knew who she was.
Really?
And he always saw that, we talked about it, and and he was never, he always thought, you know what, just, it's okay, just support it, like, they'll grow out of it, kind of.
So he wasn't mad, he wasn't
No,
upset?
because I don't think back at that time, around 4 and 5, that he thought that it was gonna, last. But then we lost touch for a few years, and he ended up finding out when the transition happened when Christina was 11, he ended up finding out from his sister, and he called me and was like, what is going on? And so I explained it all to him, and he was afraid for her. He was worried about whether or not I had all the information I needed and was I doing the right thing, but he was never
Upset.
like, what are you doing? This is wrong. He knew
Well,
who
that's
she
good.
was.
But that's good.
Yeah, he passed unfortunately in November last
What
November.
was his nationality?
His mother was Irish and his father was Mexican. And then my mom is from Mexico, and my dad was American, Italian, German. So Christina's like a mixture.
Has she gone through any operations or anything?
No. And I think that
She's
that's,
too soon for that, right?
it is too soon because she's 15. There are options for kids that are under 18 at this age. But I think what's really important when we talk about surgeries is to know that people always want to go to that question. That's always the question. Have you had this surgery? And not all trans people want surgery. Not all trans people get surgery. She doesn't at this point want to ever do that. And I
Have
don't
you
know
talked
if
to her
that
about
option- Absolutely, we talk about that all the time.
And what she said, she don't want
Well, currently she's comfortable in the body that she's in, and I don't see any reason why she should have to make changes to her body just to fit into what society says that she has to look
Yeah.
like. But understanding that the idea of focusing on people's genitals and asking about surgery is generally not a cool thing to do. When we're meeting people that are trans, everyone wants to know what's in their pants, right? Everybody, that's the question.
Really? Why?
Absolutely.
What's
Because
the
that's
difference?
what we do. We want to understand people. We want to know what's going on. And I think what it's
I'm
really about
different than everybody. I don't care what you got.
that if you haven't had some sort of surgery that you're not all the way transitioning, like you haven't finished transitioning, like there's some end place that you get to and it ends in surgery, and then you'll be a real girl or a real boy. And I just think that that's bull, because the truth is that she's always been a girl, right? So whatever changes she decides to make to her body are her decisions to make, and she doesn't need to make those changes based on what someone else thinks that she's supposed to look like, right? Those decisions are going to be hers, and she might make them and she might not.
Well,
Support
and
whatever she
that
wants.
is one of the subjects that I think is very, very important to address to people, because people assume because she has breasts, she don't need to have anything else hanging on her life, and that's the ignorant way of thinking. I know girls that have both, have breasts and have the others. And as a matter of fact, she looks beautiful the way she is.
I just asked a question because I know transgender people of both sides, and a lot of them want the surgery.
Right, and a lot do want the surgery, and
And
affording
a lot
that
don't
surgery
want
is a major
surgery.
issue. But I think it's not so much about whether they want it or they don't want it, and more about what people choose to focus on when they meet or talk about trans people. And so that's why I thought it was important to mention that, because people always want to go to that. They always want to understand, and they want to know because they want to know, should I really respect you as a woman? I can only really respect you as a woman if I know that you have a vagina. If you don't have that, then I have to assume that
But
you're
here we
only
go.
sort of a woman.
Here we go, Laura. Intimidation. They might like to have a far, intimate relationship, but they are afraid of going someplace where they're going to touch something they don't respect it.
Right.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, it's one thing for an
insecurity.
intimate partner to ask those questions of somebody. It's a whole other thing for somebody to be on the street.
Does your daughter has a boyfriend now?
No.
She's not dating?
Well, I'm not going to talk about her personal life because she's 15 and it's nobody's business. So
Okay, I just wanted to know if she's living, if the people are really accepting her the way she is,
I will say
or if
that
they know what she is. I
she's
guess.
very open. She's always been very open and out. She's done a lot of media. And it's not easy, I will say that. It's not easy for her
That's
or
what
for
I'm
any
saying.
trans young person to navigate dating. It's really difficult. I mean, dating is
Yeah.
hard, and learning about yourself at that age is hard anyway for anyone.
But yeah, it is hard for anybody.
That, added on top of it, can be really, really challenging and scary, and so yeah, it's not an easy thing to deal with, because really her safety is at risk a lot of the time. And and how to decide how to do that, and when to disclose to people, and when to to do that is something that she has to decide. Like, I can't say you have to tell people, or you can't tell people, or you need to do this
No,
in this
of course
way,
not.
because she's 15, right?
She has to
She's
feel.
gotta
She has to
decide.
feel safe. She has to feel secure. She has to feel that she can trust that other person, or man or woman. And it is not up to anybody, because first of all, I'm sure that when a conversation like this would come on, most of the time you might not even be in any conversation. So she has to feel secure and sure that her life is not in danger before you do anything like that.
Exactly. And so I have to just count on, like, I think it's true for us as parents at some point anyways, is that you get to a point with your kid where you have to trust that what you've taught them so far is going to carry them through to make the decisions that are going to be the right ones for them. Knowing that kids are going to make mistakes, because we all do, even as adults. And, and at this point, that's what I can do is to give the support.
You guys make mistakes? I don't.
I don't know, maybe one day I'll be like you.
You're a smart lady, man, and I can tell. I mean, you have really. I know you have because you're educating us, and I know how much you've had to educate yourself over the years. How much closer has that made you and Chris's relationship? How much closer are you guys?
It's amazing. I mean, like I always say that there was like a wall between us before. It was like we could only get so close because I knew I wasn't doing what I needed to do for her, and I didn't know how to do that. And I was so scared about when I was doing the wrong thing that it kept that wall between us. And so when she transitioned and when I started to educate myself and when we were able to come together on that, and I knew then that I was doing what was right, that it enabled us to really have a real authentic relationship. And she is my best friend. She is an amazing person. She's like an old soul. She sometimes I feel is like the mom in the relationship, because she's so wise and she's so together, and she just really is like an amazing person in my life. I mean, I'm just so lucky just to have her there, just to be in my life with me. And child parent aside.
So when you interact with her, when you talk to her, you don't think in any moment of her as a boy, right?
No.
She's a girl,
Yeah.
period.
Right.
So
That's why we
she's
used
your
to
daughter.
talk about her as a little kid. I never ever say he, because in my mind that is so wrong. I can't even say it.
No,
Even
but I'm
to
not
talk
talking
about her
about
before.
you. I'm talking about now.
Right.
You
But
guys
there's a
are-
shift, right?
you guys
at some
are-
point.
Interact as
Mother-daughter.
mother.
Right, but there's a shift, right? So there's a shift that comes. It's not always like that. You go from, in the beginning, having to try real hard to not say he, and I just started calling everyone she, because then I screwed someone else's pronoun up. I didn't care as long as I got hers right. And so there's that process of you going through it and trying to let go of what you thought was and embrace what is. And at some point there's a shift where when you talk to yourself, you're no longer saying the wrong pronoun. When you think of them, you can no longer think of them that way. And so for me, that did happen, which in probably about 6 or 8 months it took to kind of get to
Well, I
that
haven't
place.
made that mistake since I know you. When I talk about your daughter, I said she.
She is
a she. That's it.
She's lucky to have you, and I'm gonna tell you something. I just want to ask you this. I know sometimes in my family, sometimes some of your harshest opponents and critics can be your own family. So she is lucky to have you. Have you had to have that discussion with family and be like, look?
Yeah, that's a good question. You got sisters, brothers. How are they taking it?
Everybody knew Christina, right? So like Christina has always been so. I mean, like if we look at pictures of her now, it's funny because she's like in a little suit on Easter and she's like this.
Right.
She's so feminine, and you wonder like, how did you not know? How did you ever question who she was? And so they always saw her and knew her. So it wasn't like this out of the blue, like what are you doing kind of thing. But I'm sure there was a lot of like, what is Laura doing? This is crazy.
They knew before you, maybe some people.
Oh no, we all knew because it
Yeah.
wasn't like we didn't talk about it. I mean, she was so feminine all the time. I mean, it was cute. It was funny. Like it was just who she was. But when the actual transition happened, when we changed her name, when all of those big changes happened, I'm sure that there were people in my family that were like, "What are you doing?" But they didn't express it to me because at that point I was not having it. I mean, by the time we got to that place where we were actually making changes, I was like, "You better just get out of my way. You better not even open your mouth."
Mommy mode.
Yeah, and so nobody challenged
Yes.
me, though I know and I'm sure there were conversations behind closed doors, and maybe there still is, and I just don't care.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Wow.
I would like you to get together with Chris. I would like you to have a radio
I
show.
would love it.
Thanks.
I would love it.
Maybe not you per se, but your organization. You and Jane. And even bring some of the kids.
Yeah.
I think it would be, this is online, so kids everywhere could be listening
Goes
to
up on
radio
YouTube.
show. This is better than going into Radio Kino or well, I don't know if Kino exists anymore, but any local radio station, they might have 500 miles of listening, and that's it. I would love to donate that to your organization. I don't know if you want it, I don't know if it's enough material, I think it is, but I don't know if it's enough material to do a show every day, or once a week, or 3 times a week.
I love it.
You know, but I think, I honestly, me personal, I don't believe that one day really help at all, because people forget from Saturday to Saturday. You know, one show that I really love is Sin City Justice. Every Thursday at 10 o'clock. Half of the time I forget about the show at 10 o'clock. Either I'm watching something else, what do you want?
How about Saturday, with the day that you guys meet, maybe before or after your meeting, to pick a group that comes down, or, you know, however you want to handle it, whoever wants to handle it, but somebody come down, maybe with a child that wants to speak, wants to say their mind. And I'm thinking Saturday because that's when you have your groups.
Yeah,
So
we're
there's-
in groups from 12 to 5.
Oh, okay.
So it's like kind of like an all-day program, but
We'll do whenever, but I mean, that was just what came to my mind
yeah,
on this.
yeah. Thank
Whatever,
you. I would love
whenever you
to.
want, we're willing.
And, you know, like I wanted to bring Christina today, and she's working, but she's amazing. Christina has done a lot of public speaking. Christina's been interviewed, and she's spoke at the Pride
So
Rally.
that would be another asset to the show. A teenager talking about teenage stuff.
Well, yeah,
And
because
that would be great.
I always say anything that I can say, she can say it better, and she always does. And so anytime that she's willing and wanting to do stuff, I always love having her with
Is
me.
that Laura speaking or mommy speaking?
Both.
And I know you talked about earlier about, you know, you guys have a lot of important advocates, because I don't care what anybody says, nothing changes until the laws start to change. What do you think about that? I mean, what is the movement that you see going on in Nevada and all over the country as far as transgender laws?
Well, the amazing thing about Nevada that a lot of people don't realize is that here we have gender identity and expression in Nevada statute, right? So in places of public accommodation in Nevada, of which public schools are, you cannot discriminate on the basis of gender identity or expression. That means that when people are over here in other states trying to determine how to figure out how Title IX should be, how they should be looking at Title IX, whether or not when they say sex in Title IX, if that should extend to trans people, that it doesn't affect us here in Nevada, because in Nevada we have state laws that say that you can't discriminate, right? So that extends to places of public accommodation like restrooms.
People usually follow the law that way.
Well, people haven't been following the law. So just because that's the law in Nevada doesn't mean it's being followed. And so in Clark County School District for many years, there has not been any policy or guidance that would state how things are supposed to happen procedurally when a kid is transitioning in school. So that's what we've been fighting for. Just recently, we're looking at about a month ago, they did finally vote on 7-0 in favor of creating a team, and when I say they, I mean the Clark County Board of Trustees, Clark County School District Board of Trustees, to create a team to move forward with implementing a policy or guidance to support trans students. Now, what's important to understand about that is that this is already happening, and a lot of people think like, I'm going to come out against that, I'm going to come out vocally, and I'm going to complain about that. What people need to understand is that students are already being accommodated, they are already being supported to use the restrooms that they identify with, the locker room that they identify with, the PE class that they identify with. They have already updated Infinite Campus so that students that are transgender can have their chosen name and gender marker updated in the system, even if it's not changed legally. And people don't realize that these things are already happening. It's just that they are happening on a case-by-case basis. So students that come to us and have me as an advocate to go into the school with them, they have a fabulous result. Another student who goes into a school and doesn't even know that they can do that, or the principal hasn't been supported because they didn't even roll this information out district-wide, so some principals don't even know what to do or if they can do these things, that student might not get the same support. And so consistency is what we're looking for. And
so you think maybe your group can set up some kind of a class or some kind of meetings to educate the teachers and the principals?
We're already doing that.
Oh, you do?
Yep, so for the last couple of years, I've been working with the Equity and Diversity Department of Clark County School District in supporting them to train teachers, staff, administrators at various schools when there is a need for there to be training. So if there's a student that's transitioning.
How many trans kids you think are in Clark County now? Over 2,000?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
Really?
Absolutely.
50,000.
There is, the problem with the naming a percentage is that kids are not out. They don't feel safe to come out, to be out, and so coming up with a figure to accurately represent how many students there are is problematic. What I can say is that I'm in touch with over 100 families that I've supported, over close to 55 students to transition over the last 2 years in school, and we're finding more families at the rate of 1 or 2 per week that come to us for support, and so these students are out there, and the more information that is presented to their parents and to them, the more likely they are to come forward and ask for support.
Supreme Court is going to be busy, Lord. Just know that, and I support 150% me and Rolando and everybody here at Radio Tribune. There's going to be a backlash as well, you know that. There's going to be lawsuits. There's going to be lawsuits on both sides, you know. So you guys make sure you have some good lawyers, because if they're going to be backlash all over the country. This is something Rolando has been an advocate of for years. He's never understood, you know, why we discriminate against people. This guy right here does not see color or sex in that. You're either a good person to him or you're not, and that's the way he's always done business. But I just know there are going to be parents that are going to. You understand?
I talk to those parents all the time.
Really?
Yes, the majority of what I hear is just like I said, it's wrongmongering, and it's fear-mongering. You see a lot of fear-mongering going on, especially among religious communities, where people feel that somehow being exposed to these ideas, knowing about people being trans, being vocally supportive or affirming of kids that are trans is somehow going to leak onto or affect in some way their kids. And you know, the idea that you can catch this or that you can be influenced in this way is just silly.
Let me ask you, and I'm not trying to in any way or shape to create another issue into this world. We got enough issues already. Do you find a lot of resistance with Spanish people accepting their kids?
Yes, absolutely.
Because the mother or because the father?
I think both.
Really?
Yeah, I think both. I think it's just cultural, and
Yes.
you know, and I think that we all as parents, no matter what the way we grew up or what kind of
You don't
culture we
speak
grew up
Spanish,
in, I
right?
don't. No.
You know anybody in your organization that speaks Spanish?
Yes, we do have people that speak Spanish in our position.
So maybe you should start doing some kind of meetings with the Spanish people.
We are working on that. In fact, it's really important language-wise, because with the Spanish language relying so heavily on masculine and feminine.
But you're Mexican, you should speak Spanish.
So that's to my mom.
Let me ask you, 3 minutes? Wow, you're stingy with the time today. Let me ask you, where's your office at?
We are on Westlake Mead in Buffalo, 7465 Westlake Mead.
Where's that?
It's in
Lake Mead and Rainbow?
It's Lake Mead in Buffalo,
Buffalo.
on the southeast corner in the Summerhill Business Plaza.
Uh-huh.
Offices are, and that's where we do our groups every week.
Meetings and everything else?
Yes, and then anyone who wants more information can go to our website, which is genderjusticeenv.org, and get more information on the groups and services that we provide. Also, anyone who has a request or information can email me at lhernandez@genderjusticeenv.org, and reach out to me for any kind of support or information that you might need around these things.
Okay, say that email again.
It's lhernandez@genderjusticeenv, like Nevada.org.
I've been planning soon to retire, but I think you need to talk to Chris And maybe if you like to open a branch in the downtown area, you can use this office
That's a great idea.
to meet, at least in the beginning, when it's only 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we can put 50 people in here, but
Thank
this
you.
table is big enough. If we're not in the air, you know, but that will be up to him. You need to get to
I
him.
love
And I will think, don't pay attention to his wife.
We come to
She's
the
a good kid.
we come to the end of our show today, and I can speak for everybody here at Radio Tribune, and especially my boss over here, Rolando LaRosse. We were blessed to have you with us today, and we would love, and I can answer that question. We would love to have you here and help you in any capacity.
Awesome.
We're going to talk after the show, and I would love to set up a date. You guys can do as many shows as you want here.
Would love that.
Use our facility for any kind of meetings that you would have.
Perfect.
And, you know, we here at Radio Tribune, we're your advocates. We're on your side, and we always will be. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Thank you to Laura Hernandez, once again, Family and Youth Services Coordinator for Gender Justice of Nevada. And I just want to say a thing out to all you abogados out there, all you lawyers out there. This is a just what's the word?
Cause.
Just a just cause to donate your time or whatever it is to help out. Don't be on the wrong side of history. There were a lot of people that 50 years ago didn't think it was right for a black man to marry a white woman, and so on and so forth. And we all see, I think now it's like 35% of marriages are black. So don't be on the wrong side of justice. Rolando was ahead of his time by light years, and he's never understood why we discriminated against anybody in the gay and lesbian community. And we will not stand for that here at Radio Tribune. We are accepting of everybody, and we would love to have you be part of our family. Thank you so much for watching. God bless America. God bless our troops, and Godspeed to Donald Trump. Thank you so much.